I'm Andrew Weens with the Trinity family. Thank you for joining me for our Up Not Out Education video blog. I'm here to give you the skills you need to lead yourself, to unite your teams, and to inspire the next generation to lifelong learning where they grow up but never out of their childhood. And I'm in the third and final week as we close out the year 2019 of a series where I'm talking about the things that our 21st century, especially American, educational mindsets and model we give too much of children. We talked the first week about we overteach, talking about the second week of being overly emphasized on academics, and then this third week I want to talk about overstimulation. It's not just in schools, but our whole 21st century world overstimulated. And I think it's illustrated so beautifully by this character in the movie Up, Russell, the little boy, and he's talking to his old man friend who he's getting to know, and he's sharing about the best times with his dad. The best times with his dad are when he goes and he just sits on the curb and he counts cars, watches them go by. And I think we can all relate with the value for that kind of a moment because we have them so infrequently. Our life is always flashing by like those cars, and we never, many of us, and many kids just as much so, are not getting the opportunity to stop and just watch it. Just take it in. Just appreciate the existing. And that is a gift that we as educators can and must give our kids. Kim John Payne, who's a doctor, he wrote a book called Simplicity Parenting with Lisa M. Ross, and I'd encourage you to read it. That's actually one of my challenges for you this week, is to go check out that book. But he says in that book how he describes how he for years treated patients with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and that he began to get normal kids who hadn't had any crazy trauma or anything in their lives, just normal, average students coming into his office, and they began to exhibit the same exact side effects, the same exact characteristics as those PTSD victims. And what he was recognizing is that normal life is becoming traumatic, that the stimulus that is being exhibited and forced onto these children constantly in the education model where we want to get them more experiences, more opportunities, where we're after school we're running into all these different programs and sports and whatever else, that it's actually creating trauma, PTSD for kids. And he says that all activity without downtime is ultimately, like a plant without roots, unsustainable. So we must give our kids this gift of rest. John Dewey said, if the professed educator abdicates his responsibility for judging and selecting the kind of environment that his best understanding lead him to think will be conducive to growth, then the young are left at the mercy of all the unorganized and casual forces of the modern social environment that inevitably play upon them as long as they live. In other words, if the educators aren't going to create restful spaces, then no one will. We're going to leave these students to the mercies of a world that's getting faster and faster and more stimulated. So my challenge to you this week is simple, to just take responsibility to say, I'm going to insert in my classroom, to my after-school program, into my preschool, wherever it is, that you're going to insert daily a half-hour block where you experiment with rest in all of its different forms. It could mean you have activities that you're creating and thinking about restful activities where you just go and you appreciate, you just look at the clouds, or you have a time where kids get to just sit and maybe draw if they want, or whatever they're going to do. You're going to cultivate their capacity to just appreciate, to notice, to reflect, and actually soak in the things that you've been trying to help them learn. That is the gift give kids in the midst of this overstimulation. So I just want to thank you for being a Not Out educator, for being an educator in general, and just pursuing excellence in all you do. Thank you for giving them the gift of rest. Take some of yourself. Have a great Monday and a great week.